Your pancreas doesn't stop working after 50, but the load on it gets heavier. A lot heavier. And most people notice it too late. When the cravings hit at 10 p.m. for no reason. When you jolt awake at 3 a.m., heart racing, mind already running. When your doctor says your fasting glucose is a little elevated and hands you a pamphlet. Here's what nobody tells you. Blood sugar doesn't warn you. No alarm. No signal. It can swing wildly all night while you sleep, and you will never feel it happening. What you feel instead is the aftermath. Morning fog before you've eaten a single thing. Sugar cravings that hit like a wall at the same time every afternoon. Sleep that leaves you more exhausted than when you closed your eyes. You blame age. You blame stress. You blame last night's dinner. Meanwhile, the real story is happening in your blood.
Right now.
While you sleep. The standard advice, cut carbs, eat less sugar, walk more, isn't wrong. It's just slow. It treats the habit, not the chemistry. And after 50, the chemistry is what needs fixing. There are 5 minerals that may change that. 5 minerals backed by peer-reviewed studies, clinical trials, and the kind of results that show up on blood panels your doctor actually notices. Not on TV. Not in any ad you've seen. The strongest one costs almost nothing. It's probably sitting at your nearest pharmacy right now. And almost everyone taking it is wasting it. Wrong form, wrong time, zero effect. I'll walk you through all 5. Some I'd recommend without hesitation. Some I'd think twice about. The last one, I'd start tonight. Quick thing first. Because most people have this completely backwards. Your body handles blood sugar in 2 phases. Phase 1, sugar enters your blood from food. Phase 2, insulin signals your cells to pull that sugar out and burn it. After 50, Phase 2 slows down. The sugar still gets in. The clearance doesn't keep up. That's the gap. And here's when it's most dangerous, at night. No food coming in. No movement. No external help. Just your body, alone, trying to regulate itself in the dark. Every mineral on this list targets that gap. Specifically, at night. Number 5. Manganese. On a score, 4 out of 10. I'll be quick. Because this isn't the one to build a routine around. Manganese is a required cofactor for glucokinase, the enzyme your pancreas uses to detect that glucose is present and trigger insulin release. Without enough of it, that sensing mechanism gets sluggish. Studies confirm it. People with type 2 diabetes consistently show lower manganese levels than healthy controls. That's real. The mechanism is real. Here's the problem. You're probably not deficient. If you eat nuts, leafy greens, or whole grains, you're covered. Supplementing on top of adequate levels doesn't move the needle. The only exception, if your diet runs heavily on processed food with almost no variety, it's worth a conversation with your doctor. Otherwise, don't chase it. Score 4. Solid biology. Weak practical upside. The next one is where things actually start to shift. Number 4. Selenium. On a score, 6 out of 10. Now we step up. Selenium targets something most people never think about, insulin resistance at the cellular level. A systematic review of selenium supplementation in cardiometabolic patients found meaningful reductions in insulin resistance. Here's the mechanism. When your cells are inflamed and oxidatively damaged, they stop responding to insulin's signal. They go deaf to it. Selenium reduces that oxidative damage. The cells start listening again. But here's where I have to be direct with you. Selenium has one of the narrowest safe ranges of any mineral you can take. Too little, no effect. Too much, you can trigger the exact metabolic problems you're trying to fix. The margin between helpful and harmful is smaller than most supplement labels suggest. Form matters. Selenomethionine, the organic form, absorbs significantly better than sodium selenite. Stay between 100 and 200 micrograms daily. Never exceed that without medical supervision. One hard caution, thyroid medication or any thyroid condition, talk to your doctor before touching this. Selenium directly affects thyroid hormone metabolism. Score 6. The evidence is real, but the margin for error is too narrow to self-dose casually. The next one has none of those complications, and the research behind it stopped me cold. Number 3.
Zinc.
On a score, 8 out of 10. This is where it gets interesting. When I found the specific research on this, I checked the methodology twice. I thought I'd misread it. Here's what most people don't know. Zinc isn't just involved in blood sugar regulation. It is structurally required for insulin to physically exist. Insulin is stored in your pancreas as zinc insulin crystals. When zinc drops, your pancreas cannot package or store insulin correctly. The factory is running, but it can't ship the product. A clinical study in Open Science publications tested zinc supplementation directly in type 2 diabetic subjects. The result, a statistically significant drop in fasting blood glucose. Not a trend, not May support. A measurable, significant reduction. Now here's where almost everyone throws the benefit away. They take zinc oxide, the form crammed into cheap multivitamins. Absorption is negligible. The forms that actually work are zinc glycinate or zinc picolinate. The picolinate form is chelated, bonded to a carrier molecule that escorts it through your gut wall intact. That's not a label claim. That's basic biochemistry. Timing matters just as much. Zinc competes directly with copper for absorption. Take them together, and they cancel each other out. Take zinc alone in the evening, away from everything else. That's when it does its real work. Overnight, while you sleep. Exactly when this video started. One caution. Daily zinc supplementation depletes copper over time. Add 1 to 2 milligrams of copper separately, a few hours apart. Score 8. Clinical evidence. Pennies per dose. Available everywhere. But the next one edges it out. Because what magnesium does at night, nobody talks about it. And it changes everything. Number 2. Magnesium. On a score, 9 out of 10. I want to tell you something about magnesium that genuinely shifted how I think about blood sugar. Stay with me here. Magnesium is required for over 300 enzymatic reactions in the human body. 300. And buried inside that number is this. Magnesium activates every insulin receptor on every cell in your body. Every single one. If magnesium is low, your cells cannot respond to insulin. Doesn't matter how much insulin your pancreas produces. The signal fires. Nothing receives it. But here's the part nobody talks about. The sleep connection. A double-blind, placebo-controlled clinical trial looked specifically at magnesium supplementation in elderly patients with insomnia. What they found wasn't just better sleep. They found measurable drops in cortisol, the stress hormone that triggers your liver to dump glucose into your bloodstream overnight. Less cortisol at 3 a.m. means less glucose flooding your blood while you sleep. Blood sugar stabilizes. Sleep deepens. 1 mineral. 2 jobs. At exactly the right time. Now, form is everything. And this is where most people waste their money. Magnesium oxide is the most common form on shelves. Absorption rate, below 5%. You are essentially buying a supplement that passes straight through you. The form that actually crosses into your cells is magnesium glycinate. It's bonded to glycine, an amino acid that is itself calming. The glycine may independently improve sleep quality. You get both effects in one dose. 300 to 400 milligrams. Magnesium glycinate. 30 to 60 minutes before bed. Not morning. Not with meals. At night, because that's precisely when your body needs it most. The only reason this is a number 1, the next mineral doesn't just support insulin. It may actually stand in for it. Number 1. Chromium picolinate. On a score, 10 out of 10. I have to be straight with you. Because this is where almost everyone loses the benefit without ever knowing it. If you've been taking a generic chromium supplement from a multivitamin, a big box store, anything that just says chromium on the label, you've been getting almost none of the effect. The compound never reaches its target. It's not doing the job. Here's why. Chromium picolinate has a specific chemical structure, C1H12CRN306. That picolinate molecule isn't cosmetic. It's the delivery system. It carries chromium directly through your intestinal wall. Generic chromium chloride and chromium polynicotinate absorb at a fraction of the rate. Same mineral. Completely different outcome. Now, here's what chromium actually does once it gets in. It doesn't just support insulin. It activates GLUT, for transporters, the protein channels that physically open on your muscle cells to let glucose in from your bloodstream. Your muscles start pulling sugar out of your blood directly, without waiting for insulin to do all the work. Research tracking chromium and nighttime metabolic activity found it works specifically during the overnight hours, scrubbing excess glucose from circulation while you sleep. Another study examining chromium picolinate's mechanism found it enhances insulin sensitivity at the receptor level. Less insulin required to do the same job. For anyone dealing with insulin resistance, that is the entire problem, being directly addressed by a mineral that costs less than a coffee. Now here's the number. Read this carefully because it sounds wrong. Studies on chromium picolinate showed reductions in insulin resistance markers of up to 40% in subjects with impaired glucose tolerance. Not isolated cells in a lab. People. Over weeks. 40%. That's not a rounding error. That's not a typo. Here's exactly how to use it. Start at 200 micrograms of chromium picolinate. Never exceed 1,000. Take it with your evening meal, not the morning. Blood sugar dysregulation is most dangerous overnight. That's when chromium's glucose-clearing effect needs to be active. Evening is the window. One label rule, by chromium picolinate specifically. Not chromium. Not chromium blend. Those 3 words exactly. A 2-month supply costs under $10. That's 17 cents a night. Quick reality check. Before you start anything on this list, these minerals are biologically active. That's exactly why they work. And that's exactly why they have rules. Diabetes medication, kidney disease, thyroid conditions, blood thinners, pregnancy. Any one of these, talk to your doctor first. Not probably fine. Not I'll monitor it myself. Actually call. Chromium specifically can lower blood glucose meaningfully on its own. If you're already on medication doing the same thing, that combination needs to be watched. The effect stacks. That's not always safe without supervision. This is information, not a prescription. Here's how to actually use this. Because doing everything at once is how people quit by week 2 and never know what worked. Start with one thing. Chromium picolinate. 200 micrograms with dinner. Nothing else. 2 full weeks. After 2 weeks, add magnesium glycinate. 300 milligrams, 30 minutes before bed. That's your stack. 2 minerals. Evening. Every night. After a month, if the sleep is improving and the morning fog is lifting, add zinc picolinate. Evening, away from the magnesium. Not at the same time. Selenium and manganese. Leave those alone unless a blood test shows a deficiency. Don't add what you don't know you're missing. Now, what to expect? The early shifts come fast. Calmer nights. Fewer 3 a.m. wake-ups. Steadier energy before breakfast. Days 1 through 14. The deeper changes, the ones that show on a fasting glucose panel, take 6 to 8 weeks. The structural ones, reduced insulin resistance movement in HbA1c, 3 months minimum. This is not a 2-week fix. It's a 3-month rebuild. Consistency, not intensity. So tonight, chromium picolinate. With dinner, 200 micrograms, 17 cents, 10 seconds. That's it. That's the whole starting point. Here's what I've learned about the body after 50. It doesn't need a dramatic overhaul. It needs the right signal. Consistently. For long enough. Most people will finish watching this, feel something shift in their thinking and do nothing. They'll blame age again tomorrow morning. They'll lie awake at 3 a.m. again next week. And they'll never know how close they were to something different. You're not most people. You stayed. You know what the problem actually is. You know exactly what to do tonight. So do it. I'll see you in the next one.